Hi, my name is Kate Bock. I'm a model entrepreneur and health and wellness advocate. I'm very excited about this topic, and I actually get a lot of questions about this. So, mindbodygreen and I together both polled our audiences, asked for all of your top burning questions on the topic. And I'm going to fill you in on my answers, but I also brought in a very decorated professional. She's a Harvard and Yale trained ER doctor. She's also the founder of the TrueveLab. I'd like to welcome Dr. Daria.
Hi. Kate. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm good. We're so excited to have professional opinion on some of these answers. I definitely have, my own opinions, but I want to hear what you have to say and kind of go from there so we can get the best answers possible for all the people that are asking.
Well, you have great insight on all of these, so I'm just excited to be able to talk about them together.
Me too. Me too. Okay, so question number one, we'll jump right in. What are some of your tips for prepping nutritious meals for the week?
Ooh, now, Kate, you and I have talked about this before because I know you have a super busy schedule too. So I kind
Yes.
of have two rules in my family, and one is that they'll eat well and eat healthy food, and that doing so doesn't drive me crazy. So, how do we make healthy food easy? So, I kind of come up with this whole meal plan guide and plan for the weeknights because it's like it's Tuesday at 6 p.m. and your child or your fiance is hangry and asking what's for dinner. It's not the time to be trying to figure out what you're trying to cook. You'll be scrounging through the cabinet. So what we do is this meal plan. Saturday or Sunday, in my meal plan, I have about listed about 20 meals. I know I can cook pretty easily, 20 to 30 minutes. That don't have a ton of recipes. You're not chopping tiny things. Plan that out Saturday or Sunday. We choose 3 meals, then go
Hmm.
grocery shopping for those 3 meals really quickly. And then I prep all of it Saturday and Sunday. And Kate, there is
Hmm.
no shame in outsourcing your prep game if you need to. So if it's a crazy
Nope.
busy week, whether that's, buying your veggies pre-washed and pre-chopped or buying them frozen, or I'll even go to the meat department if I have to do like stir fried chicken, because cutting up the stir fried chicken, it's such a pain. So I'll go to the meat department and say,
Hmm.
here's my chicken, it's already wrapped, here's the 2 pounds I'm buying, can you please unwrap it? Can you please chop it into stir fry sizes?
Yeah.
I'm going to do the rest of my shopping and I'll come back and they'll do it. They're usually happy to do it as long as they're not busy. Um, and then
Hmm.
cooking is one less step. So it's about making healthy
Yeah.
easy.
For sure. I think that's such a big component of it is just the time management and not dreading it and not kind of figuring last minute, I'll just take whatever I can get, just doing the prep work ahead of time. And whether that's Sundays or whenever you have a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of free time in prepping, we in our fridge, I mean, my fiance is a basketball player. He eats a ridiculous amount of food, 2 lunches and 2 dinners every day. So we're
Right.
really going through food at a fast rate in our house. So really to not have to be cooking a fresh meal every single time, which I think would drive me insane, I really prep the food ahead of time. So whenever he's hungry and comes home, or I'm hungry and in a rush, we have grilled chicken and Tupperwares in the fridge. We have, cut up avocados. We have
Mm-hmm.
lettuce. I make kind of black bean croutons or chickpea croutons. I have
Ooh.
some dairy free kind of cheeses that I
Mm-hmm.
make at home that are actually kind of fun to make. And that's something a little bit different. You can add different spices to kind of, make a little variety in that. But that's kind of our regular fridge setup, is that everything is in Tupperwares and ready to go. Because the difference of seeing a package of chicken that is uncooked on your shelf or a Tupperware of cooked chicken, once it's cooked, you're like, well, I got to eat it. I'm not going to put that to
Right.
waste. I got to eat it. So I really think that helps you kind of encourage yourself to just pick the healthy choice. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I'm at home starving and open my fridge and there's nothing to eat, that's when
Right.
you pick the worst possible choice.
You're going to eat like monkey see, monkey eat. And studies have
Hmm.
shown that too. When they literally just take families and they don't even tell them to eat better, but they just put the healthy food at eye line, families are
Yeah.
consistently eating better. We all do that. It's just an innate drive. So finding the easy ways to like make it visible, make it prepped. I always say like, take the veggies, prep them, put them in some pretty, I use a lot of glass canisters, make your fridge look like a salad bar, because in those
Yeah.
green grimy bags in the produce drawer is where produce goes to die. And then like 2 weeks
Hmm.
later you find that like squish zucchini that you just throw out. So it's a waste. So
Hmm.
take that
Hmm.
time and prep it. And be honest, if you don't have time to prep that week, buy the food prepped. It's fine, whatever it takes to
Yeah.
get the food ready and easy. Because then you'll grab it, your fiance will grab it, my kids will grab it, and it's just so much easier.
Yeah, I also find there's different shows or books that I'm listening to. So I like to listen or listen to a podcast. So if I have that and I'm really drawn to a story, I'll just kind of set that on the counter and then
Yeah.
chop up my red pepper or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I see a solid red pepper in my fridge, I never pretty much never choose to eat it because it just feels like so hard,
Seems like
even though
so
really it
much
takes
work,
me
right?
2 minutes to cut it. Yes. But if it's
Yes.
chopped up and it's in a Tupperware and there's just slices kind of ready to go, they're delicious and they're so good for you and they're such a crunchy healthy snack, and it really is that difference. Like it's 2 minutes of your time, but if you do it ahead, somehow you're drawn to it, and if you don't, then a
Right.
chip is what you choose instead,
Yes,
and that's
exactly.
not going to feed you in the same
A
way.
chip or like last year's Easter candy or something. And peppers are something that really can last if you chop them the right way. Like if you don't the right, there's a process to all these. And we did a lot of trial and error in my house. And so I ended up making like this video instruction series of here's how to store each one. But like red pepper, for instance, you wash it, and to store it, you have to wash it and then dry it really well, like dry inside and outside after you've taken out all of the seeds. Because if it's at all having like droplets of water, it's gonna get mushy faster. So learning those secrets so that when you chop your fruit and veggies on Sunday, they last. All you need them to do is last till Friday. You don't need them to last for weeks because you will have eaten them if they're visible. So like anybody watching, whatever your family likes but doesn't usually get around to eating, just chop up two or three of it this weekend, throw it in the fridge, throw in a little paper towel to absorb the moisture, and they'll eat it. It'll be gone by the midweek.
Yeah, it's even the same on the go. Like if I don't feel like I have time to really take those things with me, if they're already chopped, I just throw them in a Ziploc and head out the door. And then suddenly I'm eating like red peppers and carrots in the Uber or the taxi, wherever I'm going, instead of, a less healthy alternative. So I think it really is about the prep work and just make it part of your routine. And that really, really does make a difference. Jumping on to number two. What are your strategies for staying fueled throughout the day?
So this is really important because, in my life and in your life too, Kate, you are on set or you're filming or you're shooting. I'm either in the ER or I'm shooting, kind of slightly differences, but maybe those two worlds are a little bit
Busyness.
different. But
Yeah.
either way, um, for both of us, you have to maintain your energy, and you also probably don't necessarily have time to be eating. So for me, if you want to be able to keep that nice, you want to be able to keep your blood sugar nice and level. So this took me a while to figure out. I used to, Kate, you'll probably roll your eyes at me, but when I was in residency, I used to have like bags of Swedish fish in my white coat pockets because I'd get so tired and then like need to reach for that hit in the middle of an ER shift. And then I'd crash. 2 hours later, I would just be totally crashed. So I saw the light, I reformed. And now any snack is going to have three things. It's going to have fiber, it's going to have protein, and good fats. And at least it needs to have two of those, but I like all three because the protein and the good fats are gonna, slow your digestion, slow that and blunt that bump in your insulin, because the higher insulin goes, then the lower your glucose is gonna crash. And the fiber also makes me feel full. Like I could eat a bunch of almonds, which are gonna give me that protein and that good fat, but I don't feel full. So that's where the almonds will come in with an apple or with some chopped papaya or some chopped peppers. If you mix those three nutrients together, you will feel full longer, which is what you need to maintain that even blood sugar and energy during the day.
Yeah. That's a thing. A snack isn't a snack. There's good snacks and bad snacks, and kind of just eating something. And I know candies and sugars, and I've totally fallen victim to the same thing on set when we have super long days and craft services is there, and we're lucky that there is food, but often it is little chocolate bars or little candies. And you see them and you're like, "Ooh, I'm tired. I want that little sugar hit." But really, in fact, if you eat something that's much more nutritious, you'll feel fuller and it will last longer and you won't have the crash. But I also just find you have like I need to snack, especially when I think similarly with your job, and I'm sure with busy moms or all different lifestyles at work, you don't necessarily get to eat at the exact same time every day, and you kind of are running around doing different projects, so you never know. So always having sort of those healthy options with you is really great. So whatever that is, if that's prepping some almonds and apples, or I always have these little almond butter snacks with me. They're in every purse for flights and just days in the car or walking around the city. And just having those kind of ideas with you and making sure you have a healthy snack to go, I think just makes all the difference, because it really has been for me in particular. If I wait too long and I'm like, there's no healthy option, so I'm not going to eat anything, or I'm allergic to dairy, so sometimes on set they'll have options that I really can't eat. And then if I wait too long, when I do eat is when I literally like overeat because I feel so hungry and panicked that I'll eat a ridiculous amount or just make the worst decisions for food. It's better to kind of break it up and eat when you're hungry and spread it out than just wait all day and snack, and then it's a disaster.
Agreed. I think people make error, like we mess up, or we don't follow our best choices when we forget that like our primal brain for eating is, it's a very primal primitive brain. So it's like you don't eat for a while and you just mentioned you get panicked. Why would we get panicked? Because we know we have food, but that's not how your brain thinks. Your brain thinks I haven't eaten, I'm starving, and I'm stressed out, which means something bad is going to happen. So I need to eat more and then I need to store it all as fat. And so we just need to acknowledge that and acknowledge that we'll eat what we see and that when we're hungry, we'll make bad choices and accept that and then set us ourselves up for success.
Yeah, and I think rule of thumb in general is avoid the prepackaged things. Like even if they say they have the low sugar and the high carb and then whatever, often not totally true. So if we can pick kind of fresher, healthier things, that really, like the apple and the almonds is probably going to do you a little bit better than a protein bar that might have some other weird stuff in there too.
Well, let's talk about that, Kate. I know we were going to talk about like what are some of your go-to snacks?
Yes, yes. What are some of mine? I, in fact, have mine with me at the moment right now. These are just little almond butter packets, and they're just almond butter with a flavor. I have these with me at all times because when I'm on planes, I find airports have the worst options for food. So that is something I really get frustrated with. I also, when I go to work or when I am traveling and I know that's going to kind of pass over a mealtime, I just bring my own. I just prep it at home, put it in a Tupperware or grab one. I just find if I know that I have something I'm going to enjoy and feel good about eating, it like sort of makes me proud of myself in a way that like I was able to prepare, and it kind of puts me in a better headspace too. Like I know I did everything to kind of take care of myself and feel the best. And when I get home later, I'm not going to, binge or feel totally exhausted and drained because I did actually just prepare to eat in a way that really works for me.
Yeah, I love that. I think those are so great because you're right. You set yourself up for success, and then how do you? And I have a couple of my own. My nut butter is one of my go-tos, especially before a long filming day. Today, I realized my family had put the peanut butter jar back in the fridge empty, which was super helpful. But nut butters are great. I think another thing for people to remember is a snack doesn't have to be a snack food. And for me, because often, as you mentioned, a lot of times snack foods are going to have more sugar, more salt, more stuff in them. So, if you do work in an office, one of the things that I've done in the past is like in my office, literally keep like a couple of cans of like Amy's lentil soup or Amy's vegetable soup or something like that, something that you can pop the top off of. And then if you have access to a fridge, often when I go grocery shopping, I'll just buy an extra 6 plums or 6 apples, whatever I feel like that's really easy to clean that day. Stick that in the fridge. Then, if you're on one of those days you cannot get out to eat, or you missed a snack, or you just need a snack, pop open the soup. I mean, there have been busy times. I was on so many calls, I didn't even have time to heat the soup, but it's okay. You can be more civilized. Heat up your soup. So you have soup and you have a plum. You are at least full for the next few hours. For frozen veggies, I'll keep some Parmesan in that work office fridge and some extra virgin olive oil. Pull out the frozen broccoli, nuke it for 2 minutes, pour some olive oil on it, some Parmesan. Again, that's a great snack and it's really delicious and it doesn't necessarily feel like, the lump in your stomach. And then also, of course, I always still keep a handful of bars in my drawer or in my bag just in case. Like, if everything else fails, like if it's there, Luna bars, RX bars, any number of different things. So at least you have something, which is still better than, which still gonna have protein and better than reaching for junk food.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, sometimes if I'm at home, and I know a lot of us are working from home these days, I have just like I buy those little lettuce cups and I'll have my pre-made grilled chicken. So if I'm just extra hungry and I need an extra hit, I'll do a little lettuce wrap with a piece of chicken and
Yeah.
some avocado and really just roll it up. And it's just it's not a full meal, but it's just something that will kind of like keep me going so that I don't get to the shaky, panicky state, which is
Yes,
the
I
worst
love
feeling.
that. Like have a just like a mini piece of a meal for your snack, and you'll often get that good mix of nutrients because we think of it for a meal easily. And it doesn't have to be hard.
What do you suggest eating before or after a workout?
So this really depends on you as an individual, like what your goals are, and what kind of workout it is, and then just like your own makeup. So are you trying to lose weight, or are you trying to work out to like bulk up and be super muscular, or something endurance? If you're trying to lose weight, then I would say don't eat extra because of the workout. In fact, that would totally defeat the purpose of the workout. So if you're trying to lose weight, unless you're starving, eat just enough to be able to get you through that. Because actually, we know that if you are hungry, so if you work out in the morning, you've already burned through that glycogen overnight, that glycogen storage. So when you work out, you're going to be more likely to be burning more fat. So don't eat something. That said, if you're trying to build muscle, then you're going to be wanting to focus more on that protein to be able to give you that necessity, versus if you're doing an endurance run to give yourself the energy. So pay attention to what your goals are, because there's not otherwise some magic answer. And then pay attention to yourself. If you're starving, eat something. If not, then, do so accordingly.
Yeah, I think it's also a balance. And also, what time of day are you working out? If you're someone that does it first thing in the morning, maybe you didn't eat, but you eat as soon as you get home. Or I am really stuck on my eggs. If you follow me, you probably see that I eat the same breakfast every single morning and I love it. So I do my two scrambled eggs and that just works for me. It doesn't sit too heavy because I definitely do not enjoy working out, whether it's hot yoga or run, whatever variety of workout. I do not enjoy that. If I've just eaten a heavy meal, for me, that is unpleasant, completely unpleasant. But I think it really depends on your goals because you could be very, fit and healthy and working out all the time and eating because you're trying to build muscle or you're trying to slim down or you're trying, it just sort of depends on your lifestyle. So I don't think there's like a rule of thumb on if you should or shouldn't. I know when I am trying to build muscle, my trainer always wants me to have protein right after the workout to really kind of build on what we worked with. Um, and I think, if I just get hungry, then I'm really a big almond butter fan too. So if I need a scoop of almond butter or a little pack or something, that works for me. Um, but I don't try to eat way more or less when I'm working out. I just sort of really I feel like it was maybe annoying when I was younger. People would say, like, just listen to your body. And now maybe I'm a little bit more mature and I'm like, yeah, I just eat when I'm hungry. And I really notice, like, if I eat too much, and I think we all do that sometimes when you have Thanksgiving dinners or big, holiday events, I really don't feel good. Like it's so just not worth it. I feel awful. And then the next day I feel lethargic and I'm sort of less prone to working out the next day because I still feel heaviness in my stomach. So I think just really having a good balance of breaking things up throughout the day. I do enjoy like a chocolate covered almond very much. So if I need that midday because I have the craving or in the evening, that's fine. But it makes it sort of maybe that cured my sugar craving. So then I'm not going to overeat later. So I think it really is just all about balance, whether you're working out or not.
I think that's right. And
Right.
yes, listening to your
Okay.
body.
This is actually a question I get a lot. What are your strategies for reducing bloat? So, my go to strategies for reducing bloat, I think it's a multiple kind of answer question. I drink a ton of water. I always thought I drank a ton of water until I saw Kevin drink water and realized I'm not drinking enough. I find sodas definitely make me bloat. So, avoiding sodas really makes a difference. I think eating consistently, having that balance, because I think if you get too hungry and then overeating, that kind of throws you off kilter. So trying to keep your body as balanced as possible. But I also understand a lot of us have chaotic schedules. I travel a lot. I'm always moving around, as are many and most people. So that's not always possible. So something that can really kind of help me stay on track is taking a probiotic. So I actually take mindbodygreen's Probiotic Plus. This is something I take every morning, and it's kind of just like supplement that helps beat bloat and it helps support my gut health. So if I can't be eating completely consistently like I would like to in a fantasy world, it kind of helps support what I can't do on the regular.
Kate, I love that. I like that you really seem to have a very like holistic perspective when it comes to such a gut health is what you're talking about. And I do the same. And again, it's a multi-pronged approach. So I think you mentioned hydration. I think physical activity is really important. Even just walking, like we see in the hospital, when people are very sedentary, their gut doesn't function the same way. And then it comes down to, diet and what are you eating to support your gut health as well? And that's probiotics and prebiotics. So people sometimes take a probiotic supplement. You also can get a lot of probiotics in your food. So you can get them from in your whole food. So to yogurt, you're going to, because look for labels that say they have multiple strains, kefir, fermented vegetables, sauerkraut, kimchi, all those things. I keep a thing of fermented sauerkraut from Whole Foods. I like to throw on my salad.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
it's really delish. And so then you're getting your
Yeah.
probiotics in there. And then you want to get your prebiotics too, which is something that even if you're taking a probiotic supplement, you may want to take also a prebiotic, because the prebiotics are that insoluble fiber that is the food for the little belly bugs that we want to have. So your berries, your Jerusalem artichokes, all sorts of things are the important prebiotics to feed that healthy gut bacteria.
Okay. I hope that's helpful because I do find I get that question a lot, and I think it's a multi-answer question. So there's a lot of things you can do, but kind of figuring out what things, and I'm allergic to dairy, so I can't necessarily have a lot of the yogurts and things that I think do have prebiotics and probiotics in them. So finding a supplement or finding vegetables that have those, I think is really important just to kind of add into your regular schedule, because I don't think it's just like a take one thing one time and your bloat's going away. It's kind of like a lifestyle that will beat the bloat.
Yes. Love it. So smart. So smart.
Next up, can nutrition help our bodies handle stress better?
This is such a good
I
question.
think
There are
she's an expert
so
on this one particular.
thanks.
I'm going to be a
Thank
student now too.
Oh, good. That's good because I was a student, not long ago when we were looking at this. There are so many ties between our diet and our stress. And it goes both ways. We know that also, diet impacts how we feel, and I'll get to that. But then our stress impacts, our health. And in fact, they found that visceral fat, that fat in your belly, so maybe also getting to bloat, it may actually be known as like visceral fat, which is fat inside your organs, is more responsive to stress hormones. So when your cortisol is chronically elevated, your body thinks something's going to happen. A saber-toothed tiger is about to chase me down, so I need to eat more. And then everything I need to store it more as fat. So, we'll talk about that. And then so how do you and then of course what you eat affects that as well. So let's talk about that two prongs. First is what you eat. You want to eat those foods that are not going to be super high sugar, super high fat, things that are going to spike your insulin levels and spike those hormones. So instead you're going to want to eat, we've talked about it before, those whole foods, those good proteins, those good fats. And also, as we talked about, don't let yourself become starving, because the more starving you are, the more stressed your body responds, and you'll eat badly. So you also want to make sure you're getting your omegas. So make sure you're eating foods that are with salmon and flax. That's really going to help you. Your polyphenols, your wet red wine, all in moderation, your blueberries, your leafy greens, all of those, and even like your vitamin E rich foods, spinach, avocado, almonds. You love avocado, Kate. And
I
that's
think you
healthy
just named all my favorite
microbiome.
foods.
Oh, there we go. There we go. That's why you can be healthy and beautiful and not stressed all at the same time. So that's how your diet can impact your stress. And then the other thing is to be mindful. We've been talking about when you're so busy, you're just like grabbing a meal on the go. Take a moment when you're eating to eat mindfully. There's a big mindful eating movement, and it really matters. It matters in what you choose to eat. It matters in how much you end up eating, because you're going to eat less. It also matters in how you digest. I mean, if you're running around or watching something and trying to like watch a work briefing while you're eating, it doesn't feel good. So those are the two things. Eat the right foods, and then when you do eat, even if it's 2 minutes, to be mindful about what you're eating, and just be present and feel and digest it. Those are the two things that diet can do to really impact your stress levels.
I really do notice that. I find Kevin and I were both very tall from very young ages. And I think we were growing so fast that we were both the types that would try to eat as quickly as possible. So we got like as much or more than our siblings. So we kind of both have this like food's in front of us, you better eat it quickly. And we've kind of both together been trying to focus on just like eating slower, like the food will still be there. Everything's okay. And if you kind of consciously eat slower and you're actually aware of what you're eating and not maybe watching something or being distracted by something, but really just enjoying a meal, which is also a nice kind of personal time, which could help with your stress. Or you are listening. We've been very into podcasts and books and kind of listening to stories together. So it's like our time that we get to catch up on our show or whatever we're learning about. And then you do eat less, and you don't like sometimes you get maybe burp, like it really just helps digestion, like slowly. Like you shouldn't be burping after every meal. Like I think a lot of people do,
Yeah.
but it's because they're eating so fast.
Right. And it lets you savor. I think so much of our, this crazy busy epidemic people talk about that come out so much against so often is because we're also not taking moments to savor that moment. So instead of thinking, I got to eat, I got to put the food in really quickly, say, okay, I have to eat. I'm going to take 5 minutes. Like when I can, I take 5 minutes and I eat lunch with my son, when now that I'm working from home. And it's like, it just forces you to kind of just take that moment, take a breath, because we don't have time during the day, and just have a nice meal.
Right. Like we're not saying you need to take the entire hour and prepare a beautiful meal and take all your time, but even if you're just given 10 minutes, try to just disengage and like really just, I'm not saying you have to thank your food for existing, but just be present with your food and then you'll enjoy it more and it'll help with your stress levels also. Okay, so those are all of our burning nutrition questions. And I have to thank Dr. Darria so much for giving so much
Thank
amazing
you.
perspective. I think I'm going to learn so much from this series as well as you guys. And I hope this has been, educational and fun. So we will be back shortly with episode 2. So check back in with us. And yeah, thanks so much. Have a great day and try some of the tips and tricks that we've sent. And if you want to tag us or share, we would love to see kind of your feedback and what you guys have tried and what works for you. So interact with us. This was all really kind of brought on and created by the questions that you ask us regularly. So we're really trying to help you and answer your questions. So let us know how we're doing, what else we can answer, and we'll get those, sorted out and shared back to you. Mwah.